Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am a fat prepper. I am a fat body. I am a bubble gum belly, whatever you want to call it. All right. I wanted to cover two comments that I've come across here between yesterday and today. And don't get me wrong, I'm not being facetious. Both comments are actually really good comments. One comment is giving me advice on my weight, okay, which is fine, okay. I'm not doing this as like a tear this guy down type of video, not at all. And another comment is a comment correcting me on an error that I make on a previous video, okay. And first of all, I don't like making mistakes, but I'm human. We all make mistakes. And I really enjoy it. I really, not really enjoy it, but I really appreciate it when community members come out and say, AAP, you got this wrong. It's this, this, and that. That is very important, ladies and gentlemen. I am not, nor do I think I am, the know-all be-all. All right? I will make mistakes, and that's why I think it's so important to have a community that is not afraid of reaching out and saying, hey, you said this, it should have been that. Okay, so please continue doing that, because that is not going to hinder our community. That will in turn strengthen our community and make it better. Okay, so let me cover the first comment, okay, and then I'll give you my thoughts. All right. And this is from Chris. I'll call him B, okay? And Chris, first of all, thank you for the comment, okay? I'm not attacking you in any way from what I'm about to say. I just wanted to put this out there so that people can understand my point of view, okay? So Chris's comment says, not even talking crap, brother. You have to get in shape. Coming from a former way overweight individual, I came to the realization that extra weight on your back plus your pack, meaning like your bug out bag or your backpack, is going to be extremely harder to physically survive with overweight. Please consider cutting calories and upping your exercise and water intake. I weighed 256 pounds and got down to 185 and could still lose another 20 pounds. And I did it because I realized that there was no way in hell I was traveling on foot in any capacity, weighing what I weighed, and I made the adjustment. This comment is not meant to be negative in any way. Just please consider it. And I replied to Chris down here, and I said, thank you for making the comment in a constructive manner, you know, and not being rude. And you know how some people on social media can be. You know, they can be very rude and very not constructive at all, right? Counterproductive, I guess you can say, right? So I do appreciate that comment. But this is what I want to put out there, okay? And I asked Chris if he is, let me see, I asked him, I said, congrats on the weight loss. How long did it take you to lose all that weight? And if you don't mind me asking, what kind of regime did you undergo in order to do so? And how long have you been prepping? Okay, so like I said, not a negative comment at all, okay? But this is what I want to get at, okay? Because, I mean, the reason, and I don't know anything about Chris, okay? And this was on the video that if you're not a prepper, you need to watch this. We are running out of time, or something like that. It was the title. It was pretty much the video where I was in my pantry telling everyone, this is why you need to prep. You need to get on board now. This, and that, right? Okay, so first of all, I hope that Chris got something out of that video. I don't know if Chris is a prepper or not. I hope he is. All right, Chris, I'm just talking to you. I hope you are, because I think that message is so much more important. Now, being an overweight prepper, okay, I can stand here and tell you guys, listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I'm a fat body, because of this, because of that, because of this, and that, because everyone has their story. all right? Every individual has their story. They all have a background of why and how they ended up where they are in life, okay? So excuses are like, you know what, everyone has one, right? So there is no excuse. Like I said, I can sit here and tell you this and this and that, but it doesn't change the fact that I've got more pounds on than what I need. I got way more pounds on than what I need. I understand that. But the question when you watch one of my videos is this. If you watch one of my videos and you're distracted, if it's one of my videos where I'm actually in it, all right, because I don't make that many videos where I'm in it. I don't think it's necessary, but once in a while, you know, I'll jump in there. When you watch one of my videos, if me being a fat body distracts you, don't look at it and just listen to it, okay? Because the message of this community, the message of this channel is that I personally don't think we have a lot of time left. I don't think that we're going to have a crisis tomorrow, okay? Or a crisis next week, all right? It may be a year or 2 years. We're definitely going to have a financial crisis again, okay? I would say that that's the most tangible idea I have about what crisis is going to come first. You know, no, I don't think we're going to have war. No, I don't think we're going to have a EMP or a CME. You know, I don't think we're going to have a nuclear attack. And there's reasons why. But I think that sooner than later, we will have a financial crisis, okay? So, like I said, if you're watching a video and I'm in it, if me being a fat body distracts you, don't watch it, but listen, all right? Because the message to me of what's coming during our lifetimes, all right? Because it can happen anytime. And any of those other things that I talked about, a CME or an EMP or a really serious natural disaster, those things can happen anytime. They can happen right now while I'm filming this video. They can happen right now, okay? We don't know when these things will happen. If we're lucky, we'll have some time to prepare because the powers that be were gracious enough to let us know, hey, listen, there's a massive CME headed towards Earth and it's going to hit us in 3 days, and it's 100%, it will hit us, okay? So if we're lucky enough to get an advance warning, you know, that would be great, all right? But more than likely, we won't get enough of a warning to prepare for what's coming unless we are preparing now, okay? So that's just the point I wanted to make. I do understand. If I ever had to walk more than 20 miles in a day, I would probably be done for a week, okay? Because my knees wouldn't be able to take it. Does my weight have something to do with that? Yes. Am I a proponent of being in good physical shape? Absolutely. Been there, done that. There's things that happen in life that bring you to where you are and that make things much more difficult for you to accomplish. Okay, I'm not going to tell you, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You know, right now I'm doing intermittent fasting. I just found out about that because I know someone that was able to get off of insulin from doing that. It's working great. I am not a scale kind of a guy, so I can't tell you all, yeah, I lost 10 pounds or 15 pounds. I can tell you that my pants are a little looser. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I will never tell you what I weigh. Why? Because I don't care what I weigh. What I care about are the things that Chris here mentioned. He said, how difficult will it be to be, you know, traveling on foot for long distances in addition to your weight, having a backpack on and having your bug out stuff with you. Those are the things I care about, okay? So doing a personal assessment right now, could I walk 20 miles in a day with all of my bug out stuff if I had to? I probably could. It would be extremely difficult, all right? And I probably would be no good for the next 2 or 3 days after that. Not only that, but having extra poundage on you, all right, while you're bugging out, it makes you an easier target. Not because you're bigger, but because you're not in that good of a shape, all right? You're going to have to react to contact, all right, the stress level is going to be a lot higher. So that means your heart is going to be working a lot harder, all right, to try to keep up with you. That's why you hear of some people that when it snows and they're not in good shape, they'll go out and shovel snow and get a heart attack. Okay, so if you are on the heavier side, these are some things to consider. You know, if you're going to do some strenuous work, all right, do it in segments. Okay, for example, if I'm carrying a pile of wood from point A to point B, don't try to carry it all in 5 minutes. You know, try to spread it out and do stuff in between. That way you don't overwork your heart and have a heart attack. All right, things like that. Okay. So I just wanted to go ahead and reply to Chris on that I appreciate the warning. I appreciate the encouragement. However, if you are not heeding the warning of what the video is about, if you're not heeding the warning that you need to prep and that you need to start getting ready and that you need to have, you know, things for the future that we may not have, then don't look at my video. I would rather you not look at me and say, man, that guy is a fat body. I'd rather you not look at me and be thinking that, hey, you're a fat body, man, I'm not going to listen to you. Well, you don't have to if you don't want to, first of all. But if that's going to distract you, don't look at the video. Just listen to it, okay? Because I think that the message is pure. I think that the message is the right message, all right? There are some million YouTube channels out there that have to do with prepping, all right? But what I think differentiates this YouTube channel or this YouTube community, all right, my small community of 3,100, I believe, what I think differentiates this community from others is that the community is what makes the channel, all right? It's not me. It's the community. Without you guys out here commenting, interacting with each other, giving each other advice, giving me advice, correcting me, correcting one another, helping each other out, then this channel would be absolutely nothing. I wouldn't even be doing it. All right. Had I started this channel and, you know, I had 50,000 subscribers, but not one person commented and not one person wanted to help out, I would not be very excited about it at all. But I am very excited about it because of all of the interaction that we have within our community. To me, that's the most important thing. So putting this to rest, Chris, thank you for the encouragement and thank you for the advice that you've given me. I am a fat body. I will probably be a fat body for a long time because I don't believe in starving myself. And with the limited amount of exercise that I am able to do, all right, and I won't say why because it doesn't matter why, all right, I will probably lose weight at a very slow rate, so it'll take me a very long time. But having said that, okay, it doesn't mean that if you out there are overweight or not in shape, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to try, all right, to get in better shape and to be better conditioned, okay? I am not an advocate of being overweight at all, okay? Not at all. I would love to be 50 pounds less than what I am now, okay? Ever since I retired from the military, I think I gained 40 pounds or something like that. So I would love to be 50 or 60 pounds less than what I am now. However, like I said, that's not the message of this channel. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you see a video that I'm actually doing a cameo on, that I'm actually live on, don't concentrate on my fat butt. Concentrate on the message that I'm trying to put out there. Do you have food? Do you have water? All right? Do you have hygiene items? Do you have medical items that you may need during a time where we may not be able to get those things for a prolonged period of time? Do you have a way to make heat? Do you have a way to defend your preps and defend your families and defend your home? All right, because police are only minutes away and when seconds matter, right? Is that the saying? The police are only minutes away when seconds matter. Do you have those things? Do you have a way to preserve your wealth, to bring it over to the other side of any kind of crisis or SHTF? All right. If you're here for the first time or you haven't seen my video on on where I compared gold to the Dow, go take a look at that video. It proves to you that gold has increased in value. Well, gold always has the same value. All right, I'm going to say, let me change that out. Gold has increased in nominal value, meaning that it's maintained its purchasing power at the same rate that the Dow has increased in value. All right, go watch that video. All right, so are you doing these things? All right, that's the message of this channel. Okay, so don't get hung up on the things that to you don't matter. All right, because to you, Chris, it doesn't matter to you whether I'm 160 pounds or whether I'm 260 pounds. What matters to you, the reason you're looking at this video is, this is a prepping channel. What can this guy tell me? What kind of presentation can this person offer me that will allow me to become better prepared and or better informed so I can make better decisions or help other people make better decisions that will allow them to be ready for a crisis that may occur in the future. Okay, so I just wanted to put that to rest. Okay, I don't mind criticisms of any kind, including this kind. Okay, but I just wanted to put that out there, that don't let things get in the way of what the real message is. Okay, all right, that's the first one. So thank you, first of all, thank you very much, Chris, for keeping it classy. Okay, this word here, no big deal. Okay, I did have to ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to this channel, if you're watching this video right now, if you don't like the content, just go to a different channel. Don't leave an expletive comment that makes no sense. I mean, I had to block someone today because they left an I don't know, maybe they were having a bad day, but it was F this, F that, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I couldn't even make sense of what it is that they were F-bombing about. I couldn't make any sense whatsoever. So, I mean, I don't want to have a lot of subscribers because I want to have a lot of subscribers. All right. That's not why. I want to have a bunch of subscribers, but because I want to put the word out. I want to reach one, teach one, and repeat. I want people to start prepping. Okay. However, I'm not going to allow a few to turn what I feel is a very vibrant and very awesome community of people, all right, into a cesspool. I won't do that. Okay, so you should. I'm not opposed to cussing. I cuss in real life. I mean, I don't do it in every sentence that I make, but there's a place for everything. There's a place and time for everything. So if you come into this channel, like for example, Chris here, he could have started saying, man, you are a fat piece of blank and you shouldn't be giving people advice on prepping because you're nothing but a this and that and that and that and that and that. What am I supposed to say to that? Like, dude, that's your opinion. Just go somewhere else. But I'm not going to allow that kind of, language to stay in our community. And I am 100% for the First Amendment. However, since I have control of the channel and I can decide whether someone can stay or not because they are just bringing in a lot of filth to the community, if that's the case, then I will decide to just lose a subscriber or two than to have community members in here that just want to degrade the morality and the moral of the community. So I hope that makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty much I'm telling you, say whatever in the world you want to say. Say whatever you want to say. I support it 100%. Just don't turn our awesome community that we have, because I do believe that it is. Our community is awesome. All right. Don't turn the awesome community that we have into one where people are afraid to ask a question or to comment because they think that someone else is going to come in there and shout them out. All right. That's mainly why I don't like the expletives in the community, is because when you shout someone out, by cussing at them and demeaning them instead of trying to help them and legitimately answer the question, then that person will more than likely be afraid to ask another question in the future. That's why, okay? So now let's go ahead and cover this second one. And I truly appreciate this because I think I already mentioned it in the beginning. When I make a mistake and you guys catch it, please do not stay silent. Please let me know. And that's what this person here did. And I'm going to try to justify my mistake by showing you exactly what I did wrong. And hopefully I can justify that. All right. But let me read this one. This one is from Jim Clerks. All right. And he says, love your channel, and thank you for that, by the way. But you had a major math error here. And the thing is, the funny thing is, ladies and gentlemen, when I graduated with my associate's degree in general education, mathematics is like my favorite subject. And mathematics is one of those things that I love. I love math, all right? I really do, but I'm not good at it. You know, some people are cursed like that. Some people fall in love with doing something, but they're not good at it, no matter how hard they worked at it. And I remember when I was taking calculus in college. I never took it in high school. The highest I got in high school was like advanced algebra or something like that. But I was taking calculus in college, and in my entire time throughout college, I had gotten A's and B pluses on all of my math courses, all the way up to pre-calc. In pre-calc, I think I got a B plus, right? So I was doing really good, really working hard because I really love math. It didn't matter what I did with calculus. I just could not wrap my head around it. I could not wrap my head around it. I think that in order to do high-level math, you have to be able to visualize things in front of your face. You have to be able to like visualize these things and be able to put a three-dimensional pattern to them and like literally be able to look around them so that it can make sense to you. You know, and I couldn't do that. And I worked so hard. And I could not do that. And I eventually had to drop that calculus class because I knew for a fact that I was going to fail it. And so there you go. I'm not that great at math. But Jim goes on to say that my math error was, and it was when I was talking about, let me see, if you guys remember the one that I did about our national food supply, like in grains, it was that video, the one that I did about how much we use on an annual basis, how much we have left as far as the supply and stuff like that, okay? So, here we go. So he said 70 to 80 million metric tons of grain is roughly 450 pounds per person. So it would equal to about 1.3 loaves of bread per day. And I said in that video, I remember saying it, I said that the U.S. only has enough food reserves or grain reserves to feed everyone in the U.S. a half a loaf, and that's it. Okay? And then I went ahead and I went to the other page, the one that I'm going to go to right now. And then let me finish this. This was discussed in increasing Kearney's nuclear war survival skills. Okay. Jim, if you have any more information about this kind of stuff, by all means, put it down, please. And ladies and gentlemen, if I do make a mistake in what I'm about to say, please let me know as well. This is something that I'm not 100% sure of right here. Okay. So this is the chart I was going at. And the reason Jim said between 70 to 80 million metric tons is because I was telling you guys that it's projected that at the end of 2019, in the U.S., we're only going to have about 74 million metric tons excess from what we produce to what we use, right? And I was thinking that this was what the government has in reserves. All right, but that's not what this is. This is what the nation, this is like, for example, let's take a farmer. Let's say that farmer produces, and I'm just going to make up a number, all right? But let's say that farmer produces 1 million metric tons, all right, that year. Well, then let's say that that farmer ends up selling 900 million metric tons, all right? That farmer still has 100 million metric tons. Okay, and of course these numbers are extremely exaggerated, but I'm just doing it to make it very easy to follow in your head. All right. So if that farmer has 100 million metric tons after he's sold everything else into the market that the people are going to buy for whatever it is, whatever products that grain ends up being, all right, he still has 100 million metric tons left, right? So if you take all of the farmers in America and you take their excess for that year after they've sold everything they're going to sell, all of the excess of all of the farms in the U.S. for that year, all right, is what this number here, that 74.85 reflects. Okay, so that's what I think this reflects. I was thinking previously in the previous video that I did, I was thinking that's what the U.S. government, that's what I was thinking the U.S. federal government has stocked up. Okay, so you have to consider this also. Let's say that this 76 million metric tons, that's going to provide every American with 1.3 loaves of bread per day for the entire year. Okay, one thing that we have to consider as well, if this is a fact, all right, if that number is a fact, is this tonnage of food is not centralized. It's dispersed throughout the country. Now, depending on what kind of a crisis we may have could depend on how easily it would be to move those grain around to where they need to go in order for it to be processed for human consumption. All right. So let's say we had let's say worst case scenario. Let's say we had a massive coronal mass ejection. All right. That pretty much took down the entire grid. Wherever this grain is, it's where it's going to stay. Okay. It's not going to be moved around. Some of it may be moved around, you know, by some government, like some government, what do you call them? Agencies. Some of it may be able to be moved around by some government agencies, but not all of it, or nearly enough of it will be able to get moved around. All right. If we had a crisis like that, a systemic crisis that affected the entire earth. Okay. So wherever these grains are is where they're going to stay. Okay. And like I said, a little bit of them may be moved around because I'm sure that the government does have some vehicles and facilities that are hardened against EMPs or coronal mass ejections. All right. So they'll be able to move some of those things around, but not very easily. And I doubt that it would be able to get to everyone that needs it, that needs their 1.3 loaves of bread a day. Okay. So that's just what I think about this. I can be 100% wrong. You know, the government may have a plan. You know, they may have a map of where all of this stuff is and say, okay, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing, and this is where we're bringing it, and this is where we're going to distribute it from, etc., etc. I really don't know if they do or not. Okay, so where I was getting at that the government only has about enough grain to feed each American half a loaf. So here I came across the world's strategic reserves holds pork, oil, helium, and more. And it tells you what countries hold what. You know, not all countries, but I'm concentrating on the US here. And I wanted to go ahead and read to you something that's very interesting. First, I wasn't going to read this part where it says oil, but this is very interesting. I did not know this. It says at least 40 countries stockpile petroleum in case of an embargo or major disruption. The U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve is the largest one of these, storing 695 million barrels of crude oil in underground salt caverns along the coastline of the Gulf of Mexico. It is estimated that approximately 4.2 billion barrels are held in strategic reserves, 1.4 billion of which government control. Right? So the U.S. has 695 million barrels of oil. Now, right now, the U.S., I think the last numbers I saw, I think we're producing about 11 million barrels a day here in the U.S. And I believe that we consume somewhere around 17 or 18 million barrels a day. I may be a little off on that number, but something like that. But this is actually a very good stockpile, 695 million. So if you take that and divide it by 20, let's say we consume 20 million barrels a day. We've got roughly a year's worth of oil stockpiled in the U.S. And that there, depending what kind of a crisis it is, again, ladies and gentlemen, for example, let's say we did have a major CME. I know that a lot of trains run on diesel, all right? And a lot of diesel engines can actually just run on oil, all right? Depending what kind of engine they are. I know that a lot of diesel engines, if you just put oil in them, they'll run. But this is a very good thing to know that we have that much oil in reserves. Now, how will they use it if something like that were to happen? I don't know if they would even be able to use it. But like I said, if this is a government stockpile, a federal stockpile, I'm sure they have a plan on how they will be able to extract that oil from wherever they're storing it, and how they will be able to get it into vehicles, which more than likely it'll be into the government's vehicles before anyone else's. All right, probably the government's vehicles, probably trucking, to have fuel for transporting goods, probably trains, probably a little bit for airplanes. All right, but so it's actually a good thing that we have that much oil, But here's the food. Here's where I was also wrong in the food. It says here, many countries have strategic reserves of food for various sorts in case of famine or other supply issues. Countries like Russia reportedly have general food supply reserves, while others are more specific. Okay, let's go here to the U.S. The U.S. is one country without a food reserve. However, there is a financial food reserve called the Bill Emerson Humanitarian Trust to be used to buy from farmers in case of an emergency. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so in all actuality, the U.S. doesn't even have, the federal government doesn't even have a food reserve, all right? So we as a nation don't have a food reserve that belongs to the people, i.e. that the federal government is holding it for the people because it used taxpayer dollars to buy that food reserve. We don't have one. So what the federal government is planning on is that in the case of a major crisis, what are they going to do? They're going to offer farmers money for their excess feed or their excess grains, okay? But ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this. What if farmers don't want the money? What if money becomes worthless? What if the money that the Federal Reserve prints become worthless and the farmers don't want that money? Then what happens? Well, I think we all know what would happen in that case, all right? It'll probably be martial law. And if something of that magnitude happened, we probably would be under martial law anyways, all right? Because the government likes nothing more than to protecting you by enslaving you, okay? So that's what I wanted to bring up, ladies and gentlemen, that first of all, I wanted to thank our two guys here, Jim and Chris. I wanted to thank them for their comments. I thought that it was worth doing a video just on these two comments here because first of all, I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way that yes, Alaska Prepper's a fat body. If you can't look at me when I'm doing a video, then don't look at me, but please listen to the message. I think the message is very important. I think it's a valid message, okay? And to Jim here, thank you for pointing out my discrepancy and also allowing me to do a little more research and come up with, this matter that the U.S. doesn't even have a food reserve, that all of our food reserves as a country is held by the farmers that make it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick look at this, all right? I didn't cover the World Food Reserve in the past. Check this out. So here, last year, okay, let me see if there's a, where does it say that? Okay, 2, based on export, okay. So here, this is the total supply, all right? If you're looking up here on this top level right there where it says total supply for the world, last year, between 2016 and 17, the total supply, everything that was manufactured throughout the world, as far as all grains, all right, was 3,396 million metric tons, which comes out to like 3 billion, I believe, tons. I don't know if that's right or not, but anyways, 3,396 metric tons, all right? And this is in the millions. Wow, that's a lot of food. All right. So the amount of that was exported, all right? So the amount of these grains that were exported by countries was 429 million metric tons, all right? So the total use of all of these from this 3396, 2,602 million metric tons were actually consumed. All right, for whatever purposes, either for animal feed, human consumption, for making ethanol, for cars, whatever. All right, which I think is a really big waste of nutrition, growing corn to make ethanol, which is not even good for engines. So anyways, that's a different topic. All right, so as a world, okay, we had an ending stock of, let's say, 800 million metric tons. Okay, that was in 2017. Look at what's projected for 2019. They project in October it'll be 600, and they project in November it'll be just shy of what it was in 17-18. Okay, yeah, just a little bit less. It's not that much more. It's like 30 something million. All right, but it's still a lot. But it's still a downtrend. Okay, so let's say that we have 800 million left, right? Ladies and gentlemen, what if Mrs. Sarkova, all right, the one that did the presentation about the grand solar minimum that we're going to be entering, what if she was right that between the years 2020 to 2028, we may have, as a world, 1 or 2 years without a summer, meaning that we may have 1 or 2 consecutive years where we don't yield any food because there's not enough energy from the sun getting through to grow our harvest. What if that's true? Look at here. We've got 800, let's just say 800. Let's say we use 2,400. That's 1/3. I'm just making the numbers easy. We would have, if we went a full year without a summer, all right, because of the weather, we would have enough food throughout the world to feed 1/3 of the people. Okay? In the United States, we would have enough food to feed a little less than 1/4 of the people in the United States if we went a year without a summer. So let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to end this real quick. Do you have any food storage? Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. When we all do this, the world will be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I'm out.